بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء وأشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم. How are you
Walaikum
guys?
assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you,
doing, Sami?
Abdulrahman? Alhamdulillah.
I'm doing good too, Alhamdulillah. And as we planned today, we are trying to act a lot from this past 5 minutes that what are we going to speak today. And all that things come from, what people think and how people think. But do we really need to care that what people think? And unfortunately, in today's times, and generally, people don't care what Allah thinks or what your own creator thinks. So we're gonna, go in deep talks with this topic today. I would like you to ask Munzir, usually, generally, how do you think what people think or no about yourself, or you just don't care and be based?
Bismillah walhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashraf al-mursaleen. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yawmiddin. Thumma ma ba'd. So when we talk about the discussion of should we care what people say or should we not, should we be based or not, I think this topic has two extremes. And like everything has two extremes almost. And like Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen would say, like sometimes or most of the time or a lot of the time, the middle way is the best way. But that doesn't mean always the middle way is the best way, but usually the middle ways. So we have two ends, extremes. We have someone who says, we will not care what people say whatsoever.
Yes.
I will do whatever I want and I don't care what people do whatsoever. And this is what our good friend Hamza also mentioned, like to mention the good based and bad based, and where is it good and where is it bad, And then you have the other extreme, which is basically everything you want to do, everything, even if you see it's truth or whatever, you care what people say and it will stop you or whatever. So as Muslims, because as we mentioned in the beginning of our introduction, and anyone who wants to know our manhaj, you can say, because our manhaj is Salafi manhaj, but upon our manhaj in the podcast is watch our introduction, We're going to speak in an Islamic perspective as much as we can.
Yes.
As Muslims, we should be somewhere in the middle. I hope none of you expected that I'm going to say, no, we should not care what people say. No. We should to an extent. Muslims, we have a lot of honor. We have self-dignity, self-honor as Muslims, all of us. And we should uphold that and attain that. And this is why you will see, for example, hudud and other things, it was placed for protection of your honor. And Islam came to also protect 5 aspects of your life. Islam came to protect 5 things. Ad-daruriyatul khamsa, as they say. Your deen, your aql, your mal, your nafs, and your lineage and family and whatnot. So honor in Islam has a great value.
Can you repeat those 5 things, because I believe that's very important.
It's basically your deen.
And
Islam came
elaborate a bit.
Yeah, Islam came to protect your deen, to protect your religion. Okay, so it is preserved, so that now no one is going to be confused whether this religion is preserved or unpreserved. Is it true or not true?
Okay.
Everything is made clear cut.
And you have to just believe on what
Believe
is
in
clear
that, and then Islam. And then Allah Azza wa Jal has put punishments for the believers, meaning, or He threatened the believers not to disbelieve by threatening them by the hellfire and whatnot, and fear the hellfire and whatnot, And us as believers, we should submit to that, and we believe in that, and we submit. But some people, not everyone, is affected by the Quran. Not everyone is affected by revelation. So Islam put a physical punishment for those who are put danger in the deen. And this is what the hudud of ridda. Anyone who leaves, apostates from Islam, after giving him 3 days and whatnot and whatever, he gets the punishment, the capital punishment for leaving Islam, so that other people don't get influenced by him. So this is protection. Allah protected the deen. Islam came to protect your religion, both in a spiritual sense and both in a ghaibi sense, unseen sense, where He threatens you with the hellfire and whatnot. And at the same time also, He gave you a real physical punishment for anyone who tries to play around in that sense. Even when it comes to nafs, your soul. Allah Azza wa Jal in the Quran has told us not to kill a soul. You know, whoever kills one soul is as if he killed everyone, you know, and all of these things. Any believer, you know, will listen to these things and he will what? He will fear Allah Azza wa Jal, you know. But Allah also has put punishment for anyone who, capital punishment for anyone who takes the soul of another person. So a physical one and the unseen one.
Yes.
For the believers, it suffices them the what?
The unseen.
The unseen. And anyone else who isn't a believer, what suffices him? The physical.
So
and then is the trend for all
go
of
and
this.
cut those person, kill those people, or who?
And absolutely not, because and that's a good point. This is only done by the judge, the rulers of the Muslim country. You know, if there is a Muslim country that has this as a law, then the only one who can implement it is the Muslim judge. As for the individuals, they cannot implement that whatsoever. They cannot implement it whatsoever. They are not supposed to implement it. You know, it is not allowed for them to implement it. You know, only the judges implement.
Can the people or the society tell, okay, this guy is a murtad or this apostate or something? Like, do people have the right?
No, it is only for scholars.
Okay.
Scholars are the only one who are going to say this person after checking everything, after looking at his matter and everything, and intifa'ul mawani', making sure that all of the barriers are not there, wa istifa'ul shurut, that all of the conditions of this of being an apostate comes. Only then and only then will a scholar.
But even if you see that person who doesn't pray every time and does this and that, the zahir is clear that he is not a Muslim or doesn't.
I would
stay-
disagree with you, because how do you know that he doesn't pray all 5 prayers before sleeping? People do that. People, before they sleep, they combine all 5 prayers that they have missed before sleeping. And that's not a kafir. That's a great danger, but he's not a kafir because he prayed Isha in its time. You get me?
Yes.
And the one who is a kafir is the one who leaves all the salah, leaves it fully. You get me? So these things needs ulama, these things need scholars, and not laymen like us. And we see this nowadays. But the point is, Islam came to protect these things. And from the things that Islam came to protect is your honor, is how you're viewed in front of people. That's why Islam put things like covering your awrah. If Islam promoted, you should not care what people say, you should do whatever you want, would it tell you to cover your awrah?
No.
No. Even Luqman, when he was advising his son, what did he tell him? وَلَا تُسَعِّرْ خَدَّكَ. And don't be harsh upon people, and don't even speak loud. وَغْضُضْ مِنْ صَوْتِكَ. And don't and lower your voice. Because the worst type of sound is the sounds of donkeys. He made similar to the one who his voice is loud and screaming and whatnot, to a donkey sound. Why? Because you should be someone who is honored and someone who is dignified. And
Okay, talking about the self-esteem and self-respect part, how much emphasis is put on that? Like, because after an extent it ends up in ego, show off and all. Where do you draw the line that you need to have a balanced amount of self-esteem, self-respect, and not ego?
the only way we can tell is looking at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. This is Allah Azza wa Jal telling us.
Yes.
إِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. So any character you want to know, where is the limits, where is the barriers, we look at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet ﷺ was humble. They mentioned that his eyes were more down than it was above. This is the Prophet ﷺ. His head was more down than it was above. And he would be a person of tranquility and relax and whatnot. A Sahabi would come, a Bedouin, where is the Afikum Muhammad? Is the Prophet with you? Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? Muhammad is with you? Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? And he's laying there. You know, so there is a balance between humbleness at the times of humbleness and honor at the time of honor. So everything is in that balance where we need to look at the life of the Prophet ﷺ. And Islam came to honor that aspect of us as humans. And this is why we see the Salaf who understood more about the deen and whatnot, they took deep care about a person's character before accepting hadith from him. And if a character of person didn't matter in Islam, they wouldn't have considered it before accepting hadith from him. They would mention a person, they saw a guy like doing some issues, playing with a car or something, I forgot, you know. And at that time, it was, you know, not nice for someone for an alim and whatnot, to go play around with a cat or whatnot. They stopped accepting hadith. You know, some of the ulama, like Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen, would mention
Is
another.
it not good to play with cats?
No, the aspect is, depending on where you are, there are things that are frowned upon and there are things that are not. So, he teased the cat with the food, you know? So he was teasing a cat.
Okay,
You get
yeah,
me?
yeah, yeah.
So depending on where you are, Jazakallah khairah, depending on where you are, there are some things that are aib, we call it. You know, this is like frowned upon, you know, that you should not do as a Muslim. For example, in certain time in the Arab areas, eating outside, you know, while you're walking in the street eating, it was something that is frowned upon. You know, and if they saw you eating outside like that, they will not accept your hadith. You know?
Because you're
didn't
not a
ha-
man of dignity.
Exactly. So when we talk about people's opinions and people's view about you and whatnot, in an Islamic perspective, we are in the middle. We do things that keep us dignified in front of people. We do things that does not give us bad name in front of people. We should not be like that. We should not do things that will give us bad names.
So do we really care what people think then?
It depends on what.
Okay.
This is basically the topic. It depends on what.
What? Okay.
If you're talking about deen stuff, for example, you know.
Yeah, like if I'm praying in my university in the classroom.
Exactly.
And people are gonna judge. It was an empty classroom and I didn't find a masjid around, so if I go and pray, and what will people come and think and what will they say?
Now this
So
is
wrong.
This is wrong. So this is what I was saying is where is it okay to care about people and where is it not okay to
Not
care
okay,
about
yeah.
people? So when it comes to things about your deen, things that has no like space for personal opinion or people's opinion, these things you don't care about. For example, we're gonna even talk a little more about that. Is, you know, for example, what you mentioned about prayer. In your
Basically, if you're doing something for the sake of Allah, you don't
That's
care
one.
about others.
And then even marriage, for example, the type of woman you want to
Yep.
marry. Obviously, there is an aspect to the culture, sure. Like you shouldn't just completely go against the culture to cause issues and cause these type of troubles. But at the same time, you shouldn't base your whole marriage based on
what people are gonna
what
say.
people say. You should always be in that.
Because you're gonna stay in the marriage and enjoy it.
Exactly.
That relationship.
And that marriage is for you.
And what people do wrong here is they will have a lavish wedding with everything showing off, money flowing, and everything goes here and there. Everything gets messed up. Okay, and when the marriage starts, they start seeing issues.
And this is the issues we're caring about
Because
what
they
people
were caring
do.
about the people, what people are gonna say.
Yeah.
Are they gonna enjoy or no?
Exactly. And then that's an issue. For example, they say, my cousin or my brother or my did this in his marriage. What about me? What will people say? You know, now that's an issue. You know, even in prayer, you know, so always have that balance. The topics that has space in people's opinion and that topics that do not have a space. And obviously I cannot give you every single list of the things.
Correct.
You know, but for example,
What would be the thumb of rule?
Huh?
Like if Allah is convinced with it and if he doesn't feel it's wrong, then you just need to care less and then go ahead with it.
Even that there is tafsil. You get
Okay,
me? But
okay.
in general, yes. In general, yes. But if we wanted to go deep in that, things that are mubah, things that are permissible in general, you should have an aspect of knowing what people would say about that. For example, in certain places, wearing a certain type of thing as a man, might be frowned upon. You know, if you are living in a place where they don't like people wearing pants and shirts and stuff, and they like people wearing like Sami' is wearing, for example, then at that we would say, even though it's halal, even though it's permissible, then we would say that you should not go against your culture. But if it comes to things like, رفع اليدين, for example, while you're praying, you're in a masjid that majority are not doing رفع اليدين. At that moment, even we see in general, you don't care. In general, you say, I'm applying the sunnah, I'm doing that, I do it. But now if you fear people causing issues, then you stop. So if some people say, طيب, give us a principle. I'll give you two principles. We say, look at the topic, what people care about and what people don't care about, have topics and things that in this thing, I don't care what people say. In this thing, I will be lenient. And then
I
the second
might consider.
I might consider, and then the second principle would be, even if you choose not to care what people say. So you went in step one, this is an issue, I don't care what people say in that aspect. Step two, you should see, okay, if I do it, will it cause more good than harm or more harm than good? And this is something people don't look at.
Correct.
And everyone who studied the deen, when it comes to the qawaid and all of these things, the principles and whatnot, they know that one of the major aspects of religion is
Cost-benefit analysis.
Technique in modern day terminology. But people don't want to do that. Why people don't want to do that? I'm not quite sure. Could be ego, could be...
There is one point of it, laziness. Like, they don't want to think about it. They're like, I'm right anyways, why do I need to care? This is what usually happens.
It could be that,
Yes.
And another thing is, especially nowadays, is people's egos has been... read books 700 years ago or 800 or 1,000 years ago. You'll not see people calling for do whatever you want, whatever. But only recently, all of a sudden, people started talking about all this freedom and all of these topics. Why? Because with progress, you can
My
say,
life, my choice.
exactly, my life, my choice. That's an issue. And this mostly comes as you see people developing, as they say, development and modernism and whatnot. It gave people audacity. And I hope if it gave audacity only against people, like, feeling entitled only against people. No, they feel entitled now against Allah. They are now feeling as if Allah owes them something. And not only are people now treating others like, they are entitled to their whatever, now they're about Allah even.
Correct.
That's why, as you mentioned, the story about a person, we keep religion out of it. What do you mean keep religion out of it, So there are things that in Islam that you should care about what people say in an aspect,
To an extent.
and at the same time, you don't, And for example, Sami' could give us some good examples maybe in...
Yeah, and
What are the things,
or what would you like to add to these points?
I mean,
Because generally you do a lot of things in your life, and
Yeah.
and you have gone through few events in your life which people have questioned maybe, and like, you are very young or you're very old for this or very this for that. And how do you deal with that?
بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء وأشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. I like what Munzir gave us two principles. We should stay in that principle and not exceed ourselves.
Correct.
Also, there is one more thing, that today's generation and today's Muslims, they don't have that importance for their religion. This is the religion of ours. This is an honor for us. See, and we all should be proud of it.
I think you're repeating the bayan of yesterday's, which was like, you need to
Yeah,
feel
the-
honored.
yeah.
The khutbah, yeah. Subhanallah. So we lack this today, We feel very ashamed, to be called ourselves Muslim. A'udhu billah. But this is an honor for us, a proud moment for us that, we have this religion, we are blessed with this religion, and we should not, you see, as Munzir said, there is an, level where reaches to extreme. There is a level which is very lenient. Should be in the middle. See, when it comes to the religion, you know, you should think many things. For example, as Munzir said about Rafal Yadain, that when it comes to the religion, when it comes to the following the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, see, we follow the Sunnah. We don't see how people do, how people who raises the hand, who does not raise. We see the Sunnah, we follow the Sunnah. But there is other things, whereas as Munzir mentioned, which are permissible. You see, we see the opinions of people as well. We respect their, their honor, their honor, their
To a
emotions.
certain degree.
To a certain degrees, yes. In what is permissible.
Yes.
And then from there, we can get the balance. How do we, maintain the level which we want to.
Okay, I would like to ask you guys a question, and that is like sometimes you prayed prayer with your friends, like you prayed in Jama and everything. Now you get into this situation like, should I pray Sunnah and leave, or should I wait for them, or should I just leave together because we might have to go somewhere in this and that? What do you do in this situation?
This is the time.
Yes.
This is the very time.
Like he's gonna think, what is he gonna think?
This is the very time you need to take action.
Yeah.
You will think many things. What will they say?
Yeah.
Should I leave? Your nafs will call towards them. That is the very time you should fight your nafs. Pray 2 rak'ah. Wallahi, life is very short. You see,
Subhanallah. True.
you go with friends, you will not even think about this. You pray 2 rak'ah, you will leave. The time will go.
It wouldn't matter.
It wouldn't matter. Allah does not want your this to pray 2 rak'ah. It is for your own good. If you utilize this time efficiently and effectively, it will benefit you in the hereafter. If not, you will go with your friends.
And maybe they will waste the 2 minutes to pray the if they could have prayed the 2 rak'ah, but instead maybe while they were going outside, they get stuck with people praying. You wait for them for 2 minutes,
that's one
and you
thing.
could have prayed you could have prayed the sunnah. So subhanallah,
But the
now you
thought
wasted
comes-
your time.
But the thought comes, what will my friends think? They think that I'm very pious and this and that.
Yeah.
How do you tackle that point?
Again, this is now waswas.
Yes.
And waswas is a big topic. It's many people, especially those who begin practicing, they face this issue. Is now they care about what people saying, because we spoke in the beginning about caring about.
One line
Yeah.
I wanted to say, sorry to disturb
Yes,
you,
please.
that be an example for your friend.
This is a good point.
Be an example for your friend.
Okay. Now the issue comes here is like, are you really praying to set an example? Because I used to go through this, but I want to set an example and I would like to pray. But it became to a point that now in the prayer also I'm thinking, is my friend praying or there or what? Like instead of praying just for the sake of Allah, now it became for an example. But few times what happened is like I just didn't care. I just prayed my fard. Now it's my time to pray the sunnah, and I just stand up, pray, and leave. I wouldn't care what people would think or say. That was the most peaceful way. Rather than thinking, just do your stuff, and then they will wait for 2 minutes. They don't mind that, or they will pray if they want to. But don't think about setting an example every time. This is what I have faced. What do you think, Munzir, regarding this point? Well, it's a good point that you want to inspire others to pray as well, but this gets in your way of the the khushu and the ikhlas of
This
your
is as
prayer.
it has said, was.
Yeah, this is again a waswas. Yeah.
It's definitely waswas. Allah Azza wa Jal told us, "Ud'u ila sabili rabbik bil hikmah wal maw'idha al hasana," and وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى. So guiding people and teaching people could be in telling them, it could be in action wise. And this is why sometimes you'll see Umar ibn al-Khattab, when he made takbir, Allahu Akbar, he said dua al-istiftah out loud to teach the people. So sometimes you can use actions to teach people, but when you talk about caring about people and not caring about people, in the beginning we spoke about should we or should we not? Should we or should we not? We mentioned our point as Muslims. We should be somewhere in the middle depending on. But now someone will say, look, ya akhi, that's good points, but I'm already facing it. What should I do now?
Facing what?
Facing the issues of before I want to do something, I care about what people say. I understood what Islamic, the perspective of Islam
to
is.
stay in middle, but what's the middle? It's blur.
What about, I'm already falling in this thing. What should I do? We tell him, look, it depends on your situation to situation. In general, people who care about what people say, in general, could be categorized. You'll see someone who is
Correct.
have waswas. It's only waswas. Some people are, as we spoke in the previous times, have psychological issues, biological issues, genetic issues, where people are more prone, like I mentioned last time,
The
to
OCDs.
to care about what people say.
Over compulsive,
Yeah,
obsessive compulsive.
whatever that is called. You know, is
Yes.
people have that thing in them that sometimes they are born to just want to do what people. They are people pleasers, like they say, and some people are raised upon that, and it's very hard to change someone who was raised upon caring about what people say, especially if his mother wasn't someone who gave him freedom, you can say, in an aspect. You know, everything he does, she has to approve first. She says do this, he does it without any yes or no. Just do it. Why? I told
Not
you to do
only
so.
yes or no, but without a thought.
But this is what I'm saying, without telling him why. You know, and this will be an issue. So as for the person who is currently facing the problem and the disease of caring what people say in everything, this person, we tell him, love the sunnah
And go with that.
and go with that. The solution to that is to love the sunnah and to act upon the sunnah. Because you had Sahaba at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they were in a culture that was more calling towards making people pleased. You want an evidence for that? I'll give you an evidence. Abu Talib, the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ, when he was gonna die, the Prophet ﷺ came to him and told him, Ya Am, قل لا إله إلا الله, say La ilaha illallah, a word that I will help you with it in front of Allah Azza wa Jal. And he was about to say it, but at that time,
The people
around him,
the mushrikeen.
the mushrikeen, two of them, Abu Jahl was one of them. He came and told him, you want أراغب أنت عن ملتي عبد المطلب? Are you going to go against the religion of Abdul Muttalib? And then he said, I am upon the deen of Abdul Muttalib. And he died. And he has a famous poet line. I don't memorize it, but I will say it in English, you know. He has a Lamiyat Abu Talib, it's known, where he speaks about the Prophet ﷺ. And then he says, and I know that the religion of Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the best of religions. وَلَوْلَا الْمَلَامَةِ. And if it was not about what people will say about me, he would have found me helping him and succeeding him and becoming a Muslim. But because of
What
people's,
people might
Allahu
say.
Akbar, he left Islam. He didn't accept Islam.
Only this hadith is enough for the whole episode.
You get me?
Yeah.
And then there was a famous Arabic poet. I keep forgetting their names, but so many names I keep forgetting, you know. My friend's name I forget. What about what about a kafir, you know? Anyways. He was a poet that the Prophet ﷺ, although he was at the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, he used to be a poet who would write about Allah, write about his attributes and whatnot, you know. And the Prophet used to love to hear his poetry, even
He
though
was
he was
not a
not
Muslim?
Not a Muslim.
Okay. Then how did he?
I will still listen. So the Prophet ﷺ one time told the Sahabi, do you have from his poetry? He said, yes. He said, recite. He recited. He ended. The Prophet said, recite. 100 stanzas he recited. So this man wanted to accept Islam. When he heard about the Prophet ﷺ and whatnot, he wanted to accept Islam. But while he was in Ta'if, because he went away and when he was away, he heard about Muhammad, peace be upon him, he wanted to go accept Islam. When he went to a Ta'if and Khalas was about to go to accept Islam, he heard that his brother died in Badr. He said, I'm not going to become Muslim because of that issue. And I feel, Wallahu a'lam, that the reason he didn't want to become Muslim is that people are going to say, how come you're going to accept the religion of the man who killed your brother. How are you going to accept the religion of a man who killed your brother? That's a shame. For them, at least.
At least at that time, it
At
was
that
a big
time,
deal.
for them, it was a shame. Someone killed your brother, and the Arabs were known for retribution. And what. How can you accept the religion of a man who killed your brother? But now let's look at the flip side. Umar ibn al-Khattab, in Badr itself. When they took 70 of the mushrikeen, a couple of the mushrikeen they took, 70 I think of the, as captives. Umar ibn al-Khattab said, look, I will take my relative. Ali ibn Abi Talib will take Aqil, his brother. And so will take his relative. Everyone will kill his relative. Because why? Because when you get a captive, the Prophet was confused whether he wanted to ransom them, to take money or take other prisoners in exchange, or should they kill him? You know, and Umar ibn Khattab said, everyone will take his relative
And kill them.
and will kill them. So that Allah knows that we don't care when it comes to deen. So these are يعني subhanallah, great examples, you know. يعني this is why someone should always read the biographies, yes, and the seer of the Sahaba and the seer of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to know where is the middle path. And to mention why I mentioned all these stories is, if you are already facing this issue of caring about what people say in everything and what, love the Sunnah, because you're not in a culture who cares about other people's opinion more than the Arabs. The Arabs would kill for that. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't do that, you know. But when the Sunnah came, when the Deen came, what happened? They submitted. They submitted. So the solution to, if you have a problem right now in your religion, where you like care about what people say, love the Sunnah, know the Prophet, read the Seerah, look at the Sahaba, look at the stories I'm telling you, and all of these things and the dangers of it and where it could lead you. It could lead you to A'udhu Billah kufr, like Abu Talib, where he didn't accept Islam because of it. This is the problem with if someone is facing it right now.
Yes.
And just to mention the third type of person, or the third category, because one person asked us, what is based and unbased? Where is our Islamic view on that? About caring what people say. We gave you the Islamic perspective. Now a second person came to us and told us, I am currently facing these issues. I care about what people say and whatnot. We gave them the solution, love the Sunnah. A parent comes to us, or someone comes and says, what about children? How could parents contribute in making sure that their children does not have this disease? This is what we say is, be open with your children. When you have children, inshallah, the way when you order them, I'm not saying don't order your children to do things. I am saying do, but tell them why. Because parents, this is maybe the only solution I will give you, not going deep into other things. If you tell your child, do this, he tells you why, don't scream at him and tell them, don't say why. I am your father. Tell them, because this and that. Because explain. And then if they have anything, tell them, okay, go ahead, tell me. You know? And then you can even have the discussion with them in the future when they start growing up, in the things that you are allowed to have a say in, and the things you're not allowed to have a say in. Salah, you don't have a say. You're gonna pray 5 times. You know why? Because Allah said. You know, and some other things you should allow them to disagree sometimes. You should allow them to say something, you know, to talk in respect. This is where they will even be open to speak to you. And then whatever they want to do, they're gonna be like, why should I care what people say? I know it is right because this, that. But the issue is people now, they are programmed since they were children. Their parents programmed them. And this, I don't have a research for it or anything, but if you ask me, wallahu a'lam, I would say maybe the number one problem or reason why people care so much about what people say is because they were programmed
in that way
by their parents themselves.
Even their parents used to think like, what will they
Exactly.
tell?
Exactly. You know, so
And that is why I have seen many people, they don't teach their kids Quran and Islam and all. They care if my son is starting to learn ABCD from the age of 3 or 4. They don't care if the kid knows Quran or no. They don't care if the kid is going to learn about Islam or no. They just care if he's going to get a degree or no. And talking about marriage, some people will be like, I have heard this good point is like, what will people tell that you're getting married, you're just 18? What will people tell you're not earning or this and that?
what
Okay,
do you think, Sami?
not earning is a point. It can be, disagreed with few perspectives of scholars and this and that you need to earn or not. But what will people tell is the worst thing anyone can tell to their child, or worst thing anyone can think
Exactly.
while going for a marriage or even for doing a degree. Like, if I do business and I don't
What
have a
will
degree,
people say? Yeah.
what will people tell? This
It
is the
shouldn't be
thing.
like that. Yeah, it should be you giving reasons, even if as a parent you don't disagree, for example. And I feel like one of the best people who can speak about it is Samir, about this
Yeah,
experience you asked about. Is when you, for people who want to marry young and have the capability, and what if they say now, what would people say?
Yeah.
Or they're afraid of what people will say. What do
What do
you
you
think
think you
about
would
that?
like to tell? Generally, as a general thought.
obviously what Munzir said, it comes from the beginning, from the upbringing of the children. Make them hear. See, make your child hear. Make them know why you are doing this, why you are praying, why you are fasting. Why do you want to think good of people?
You're doing it for the sake of Allah.
For the sake
Simple.
of Allah, and why you are doing it. Make them hear. And if you also, if you make this upbringing of children,
That you have to think and do it for the sake of Allah, then it will be more easier for you even while you're doing marriage or
exactly,
anything
and
else.
then they will not much worry about what people think, what this thing, because they know why they are doing this and for whom they are doing this. They know that. And when it comes to marriage, you will have many people saying, enjoy your life, why you're
Yeah.
marrying this early,
Yeah.
you know.
This is a whole good topic. We can,
You will destroy your life, you see. You
yeah.
see, although
Like,
they're,
there will be many people who will have their hundred of opinions
yeah,
to
yeah,
stop you from it and all. Mostly stop you.
yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Then how to deal with that?
What did you say?
How do you deal with that? Like, when people come up to you with a lot of opinion. For me, example, I said once, like, I don't want to do a degree. I just want to do with the business. They're like, what will people tell? How will you do business?
Exactly. So
How will you earn money? Like,
that is why you don't know anything and you come and speak. Ask those who are experienced.
like,
Ask those
for
who are
them,
experienced.
does it really matter
Yeah.
that what people told or not?
They don't even know ABCD of marriage. They are like, yeah, okay, don't go in this marriage, you will be trapped and what all. No. See,
And what do you think about that?
yeah, see, they don't know anything. Ask those people
Not
who are
only
experienced,
that, not only that, I'll tell you one thing is
yeah.
these kind of people with specifically with marriage issue is who had bad experiences in marriage will give you the bad advice.
Yeah, it
This is especially that.
Obviously, it depends upon person to person. But you don't take, one decision and apply on everyone.
So exactly, this is what summarizes is when you're taking someone's opinion also, even if you're trying to consider, understand that where is that person coming from and what kind of experiences that person already had. Is he having the right experience and right thought who is giving you an advice or even a comment? And whatever they're telling, is it from a right place of heart
Exactly.
and right manhaj and right mentality? If not, then you don't have to care. But if a person is giving an advice and is like concerned about you, then you really need to consider. Sometimes, and I'll mix this and I'll give you an issue. Your mother who really loves you and everything and this and that, but she tells you, yeah, Habibi, you don't look good in the beard. You are my cute little boy. Cut the beard. That's where you have to stop. Like, mom, I love you very much and this and that. I really care what you're telling, but this is for the sake of Allah and following the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, which is just not for the show off and this and that.
And
What would you
now
like to add?
we mentioned three things, 3
Yes.
points that we someone who asked what is unbiased and what is biased.
Yes.
We gave him the answer. Someone who asked, I am currently facing this issue. What should I do? We gave him the answer. Someone asked, Tayyib, children, and how do we do it? We gave them one solution. And we said, upon our experience, you can say is the main reason why people are. And then someone will say, okay, I am with you right now. we are in the same track. I care, I don't care, and I care at the same time, depending on
The situation.
But how should I now deal with someone, or how should I respond to someone when he says, "Look, man, keeping your beard doesn't look good at you, man.
Yeah, it
It
feels
doesn't
weird
look good
your
on you."
face.
Someone who says, "يا أخي, Habib, your garment is too short,
Too short, yeah.
too short. You know, keep it." How should you now act upon?
Respond to him, yeah.
This will also, that's a crucial point for people, especially practicing Muslims, because we're talking about practicing Muslims who are being faced up with this opinion thing in deen related stuff.
Correct.
You know, I'm not talking about, you know, some guy who wants to color his hair green or you know. Now we're not talking about this person. You know, this person, they can okay. We tell him, look, the way you respond will have a great effect and a great result on you. If you are kind, your mother, like the example he said, your mother comes, yeah, you are my young boy, you know, whatever, remove your beard or cut it or whatever. There are two types of answers. One person will say,
La haram.
fear Allah, you know, what is this? You enemy of Allah. To who? To his mother. You are the enemy of Allah, you know, A'udhu Billah. And there is many, especially upon those who are now just beginning
To practice.
to practice. And then there is another way to respond,
With wisdom and patience.
with wisdom and patience. And this will have great and better results for you. The more you are give an angry response and whatnot, the people will be away from you. People will go away from you, and people will speak more about you. You know, this guy, look at this guy with this beard, you know, and they will shoot you with the side hits, you know.
Okay, how would you like to respond to these people who tell, I am dealing with patience and sabr and everything and with softness, but these people or my family members still are going more astray, or even if not more astray, they are not changing. Even after me trying to be kind and still following my own religion, they are not picking from them.
إنك لا تهدي من أحببت ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء. إنك لا تهدي من أحببت ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء. It is not upon us. We do the asbab. If the results was upon us, all of us would be destroyed. The results are not upon us. وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين. We give clear, beautiful answers. We try to be kind. We try to be wise. We do all of these things, but the results are not upon us. But if you want better results, then what is, because the Prophet ﷺ said, as he said in an authentic hadith, or as he said, يعني, because I don't want to make a mistake in the specific word, is ما دخل ما دخل البر على شيء إلا ما دخل اللين على شيء إلا زانه. No, there is nothing that softness entered upon except it adorned it. And nothing, and the other part of the hadith, and nothing, and no harshness entered upon anything except it shanahu. It يعني made it ugly. So the way you act, you should be lenient. You should be kind. You should be, especially in these types of matters. You get me? Because this will either break or make your own family that you want to guide.
Or any other relationship.
You know? And it all begins with what they say. You know? It either has an effect on you, or it becomes like glass.
What do you mean?
Meaning, when you have a cup of glass, you splash something on it, what happens? Falls off.
What did you mean by it all begins with you?
What do you mean?
You were telling like it all begins with you, like how you're dealing with it.
Yeah, it all begins with your responses and actions towards
Them.
them. If you are good with them, then the aqiba will be better. But if you are harsh with them, you can do unfixable mistakes. Or I don't know the better word to put it. You know, there is a nice dramatic word that I forgot. You know, there is something like unfixable. I will say my English, but whoever knows English, unfixable mistakes, irreversible. Barakallah feek, alhamdulillah. No one said this, but anyway, it's irreversible mistakes. Some people can make, especially in the beginning stages, irreversible mistakes. someone says, "Ya akhi, his father, his mother, his sister, his brother, you know, yeah, habibi, you know,
You're kafir.
la, relax."
I mean, if someone tells like, you don't pray, your
No,
dad, you
like
don't pray.
you keep your no, I'm talking about them telling you, you know, you keep your beard, you know, your
you're,
garment is too long, you know, you can say you enemy of Allah, you
Yeah.
whatever, and then you make irreversible
Mistake.
mistakes, and even later on, when you become good and kind, it will never be the same.
You have made that stamp.
Khalas.
So I would love to end it here. So next
Subhanallah,
time,
one more thing before we conclude.
Yes.
Is the sincerity. You see, the Salaf used to say that the more sincere you are, the less prone to pleasing people you will be. The less prone to riya.
it's a very great point. Yes.
Barakallah feek. So
When you're sincere towards Allah,
exactly, when you don't know about Allah, when you don't know about religion, about your religion much, how you will be sincere? When you learn your religion, you know more about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will be sincere. And when you are sincere, you don't care about people. You know whom you are doing everything for.
Exactly.
And then when you are more sincere, you are less prone to getting involved in pleasing people, in the riya and waswas and stuff like that.
that's the best conclusion. But before that, something was pricking me. I was listening to a speaker previous week. The speaker was like, generally, it's not a thing that you marry 2, 3, or 4 nowadays. But sometimes what happens is some person has money, wealth, and energy and everything to marry the second wife. But just because what will people tell, he is abstaining from it. And some people have given, some shuyukh have given fatwa, muftis have given fatwa that if you're stopping because of what people will tell, now it is further upon you to get married second. What do you think about this opinion? I know it's a
Obviously,
big-
يعني, as for me, I'm no one.
Yes.
As for me, I'm no one. And this is a statement that as a student of knowledge, the Shuyukh has said, that's their opinion, that's good.
Yes.
But I would say that, as Sheikh Uthman al-Khamis have mentioned, that it is when you refrain from doing something
Just
because of people, this is riya.
Exactly.
This is what riya is.
And is it further upon you to act the opposite?
It depends on what it is.
Like for example, you're praying sunnah, and now you know that people will tell, oh, this guy's started become a mufti now, just because he's praying. So should he pray that sunnah? Or
As for saying fard, it is must for him to fix his niyyah. No doubt about that. Is it must to break it? I can't say must, or I cannot say it is not must, because I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know
I
what to
personally don't know. But my best advice would be, when it comes to generally waswas and these things,
try to break it.
is break it. Like Sheikh Uthman al-Khamis mentioned, when someone does something to please people in worship, then he's a munafiq. This is nifaq. But someone who leaves something to because people will say this is a riya. But this is an important point everyone should take home. If you find yourself fighting against your own nafs, then this is not riya. If you find yourself caring about you feel bad that you're caring about what people say and whatnot, this is not riya. You want to pray sunnah, and you are afraid of what people will say, and then you inside yourself you hate it, then you're good, you're in the good. But as for marriage, if people saying don't marry a second, don't marry, and you don't do that based on people's opinion, then it's a must for you to do. I cannot say yes or no, because I don't know.
I mean, it's not the fatwa.
Yeah,
but I
I
was asking,
don't- yeah.
And then we can conclude with this short dua
Yes,
that
please.
the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us. Is when you fear riya, say this dua: Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min an ushrika bika shay'an a'lamu wa astaghfiruka lima la a'lam. Can you translate the dua?
You said it, you translate it.
I mean, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika, mean I seek refuge from Allah. I mean, an ushrika bika, in falling in the minor or major shirk. Is that right?
To fall in shirk in things while knowing, and I seek refuge in Allah Azza wa Jal
Unknowingly.
If
unknowingly.
I did and I seek forgiveness from Allah if I do it unknowingly. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And as I stopped you on the dealing of relationship and how do you talk with your people and friends and families, I would love to continue that from next time, inshallah. So if you guys also have any points you would like to add to this, this amazing podcast, you might comment them down. We would love to see your feedback, and we'll pick on from this topic, inshallah, next time.
And any topics which they have to,
You would
want
love
us to speak. Or,
Yes, you would love to
It's
listen.
not because we're running out of topics, but we just want.
Yes.
We would just
سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت واستغفرك وأتوب إليك.